What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? I've missed you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. So this is April with astrolada.com, and I'm doing weekly astrology forecast for the first week of December 2018, the last week of the year. Oh my goodness. We made it. We made it to the last week of the last month of the year. We made it to the end of 2018. It's been a crazy ride. How about for you guys? This has been a crazy year of all kinds of retrogrades, and all that stuff just pushes us into further evolving as souls and human beings. So, we got to be thankful for those transformational transits, right? So anyway, happy Saturday, everyone. I know I usually go live on Fridays, but I had to make an adjustment and go live today and just cover the first week of December. So we have a lot to cover, So if you guys are tuning in and you're not really familiar with my style of broadcast and my style of horoscope, I go over the astrology of one week to the next and let you guys know the major shifts that are happening. And then also at the very end, I go over a celebrity chart or maybe celebrity couple as an example to see how astrology really works in real life. Because this isn't just stuff that we read out of books and we regurgitate data. You know what I'm saying? This is real life stuff, and people whose lives are on display, what better examples to show how astrology is like the real deal. So that's what we do here. Okay, that's why we call it coffee talk. And I do have a mug today, just plain old black, because we have the energy of Scorpio back in the air. That's like the main thing I'm going to talk about, but I'm also going to give a forecast and a horoscope for everybody for the new moon in Sagittarius, which will spark, more of that Sag, happy-go-lucky energy back into the atmosphere, even amongst us having another moment of going back into depth, with the Scorpio stuff popping back up again. So, but yeah, just to celebrate, Mercury just went into Scorpio December 1st, and it's retrograde, so it's back in Scorpio. And then Venus is going to enter Scorpio again on December 2nd, which is it's moving forward back into Scorpio after being retrograde in Scorpio and Libra. So we're actually having a repeat of the very last few days of October 2018. This very weekend, this next, the first few days of December. So yeah, some things are up for review. So we're gonna dive into that. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I know I've been on a hiatus for a little while. I may still have a couple hiatuses here and there over the next maybe like month or so. I do have a lot of major life changes going on. I've talked to some of you guys about it, especially, some of my clients talk to you guys about it privately. So I appreciate everybody being patient with me through times of personal shifts, let's just say major shifts, including moving and everything. So thank you guys for that. But of course, when I'm not here, I miss you guys. I'm not going anywhere, so if I'm not here, that's why I got a lot of, I'm not exempt as an astrologer. Just because I can calculate all this stuff and forecast it and everything, it doesn't make me exempt from being hit, and having to transform and go along with the energies as well and figure out what's the best way to act, what's the best way to react, what's the best moves to make and things like that. So yes. Okay, this week was weird. Really, C. Jeter, why? Why was it weird? Let us know. Okay. Okay, so we have somebody giving us some good news. So let me take a sip of my tea real quick and read that. So we can start off on a positive note, with all the Sagittarius and Jupiter in the air, we got to do that. Okay, so Remember Easyful says, I met the love of my life, a Sagittarius. I'm a Virgo. We have all the Venus and Scorpio aspects in good effect and are beginning cohabitation this week. So you guys just met and you're just moving in? Is that what I'm hearing? When Mercury's out of shadow, the adventure continues. Hey, adventure, yes, Sagittariuses, you guys are all about that adventure, right? Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. That is some good news, meeting the love of your life, of course. All right, so let's dive in, you guys. Let's dive in because we have a lot to cover. You guys know I can talk, okay? So don't want to make this like a 5-hour long broadcast. But what's the energy in the air right now? Well, on November 30th is when the exact opposition between Venus and Uranus popped off. In the evening time, if you're on the west coast of the US, but it was probably like counting more towards like the late at night or early morning if you're further like in the eastern part of the world. Venus and Uranus opposition, and it's the weekend. So has anybody got any crazy love stories to share? Like, you know, Venus is love, Venus is attraction, beauty and everything and enjoyment. And then Uranus is like buzzes of lightning. So anybody have any like sudden strange attractions or anything suddenly happening, sudden windfalls with money, even sudden losses of money or sudden breakups, sudden makeups? Like, spill the tea, let us know, because Venus and Uranus Venus and Uranus oppositions is like Venus is being struck by lightning. You know what I'm saying? Did anybody make any like odd purchases or want to do anything different with their looks, be more original with their looks? I would say for me personally, that's how it affected me, is, you know, trying to be pulling out some things I haven't worn in a long time. Also, I'm thinking of getting like a piercing. I've been thinking about tattoos. You know, Uranian energy is all about originality. And in the sign of Aries, Aries is like the self, the body, the physical body. So, and if you notice that, little nerdy astrological side note, ever since Uranus has been in Aries, there's been like an upshot into it being more okay for people to have tattoos and lots of tattoos and piercings that are visible. Whereas, you know, maybe like a couple decades ago, that was considered to be so taboo and trashy. And I remember applying for jobs, you know, back in the day, and you could not have any visible tattoos. That was on the applications. No visible tattoos, no facial piercings and stuff like that. But nowadays, you can work, you know, in a lot of places and they can't say anything. I think that Uranus and Pisces help to usher that in because that's creativity. And then Uranus and Aries is the body, physical and all that, and the face, you know. So anyway, so Venus and Uranus opposition. Venus is your appearance. So has anybody wanted to do anything crazy with their body or their appearance to alter it, to make themselves feel like they're true to themselves, you know? So let us know. Spill the tea. Let us know. Okay. Jackie says, really feel like I'm about to get a windfall and you're a crab, you're a Cancer. That's cool. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. A lot of reconnecting with exes or love interests. It's weird. You notice people getting karma from rejecting you. Wow, your love life has been strange this week. You know, Uranus causes some strange things to happen. And although on the 30th is when the Uranus and Venus opposition was exact, it's been building up. You know what I'm saying? It's been hanging around, lingering for the last couple of months, to be honest, you guys, because Uranus was in Taurus, right? Then we had Venus in Scorpio, and Venus in Scorpio was retrograde. And then Uranus was retrograde back into Aries, and then Venus retrograde back into Libra. So we've had this opposition hanging around for a minute, to be honest. But it was just like, when we look at the degrees and all the like really nerdy details, it was exact. And it's kind of fading off now, but it's still going to be hanging around for a minute, probably through the next like maybe week or two or something. So yeah, that's that. That's still happening. You know, the energy is still lingering right now. And then, as I mentioned, on the 1st, which is this day that I am recording this, Mercury went back into Scorpio, like in the wee hours of the morning. Mercury went back into Scorpio. So let's talk about that real quick. So Mercury's communication, it's what we're talking about, it's what we're thinking about. And, you know, in Scorpio is things that are very deep, Your mind goes to places that maybe it usually doesn't go on a regular basis. It's not surface level stuff. It's not just, oh, hey, how are you? How's the weather? How's the kids? Okay, bye. No, it's like talking about Scorpio themed things like fears and desires, and maybe even things to do with money too, because Scorpio is the sign of other people's money or joining forces with other people financially, you know, like business wise, or even relationship partners that live together and pay bills together. Scorpio rules that, and Scorpio rules your credit too. So, and also like earnings from court cases and, you know, waiting on checks from the government, for example. So there could be some things that are reviewed again over the next couple of weeks. So Mercury back into Scorpio, December 1st, right? A repeat of, like I said, it's a repeat of like, I'm going to say October 28th through October 31st is what this Mercury retrograde is covering. So that's when Mercury was at like the 29th back through the 27th degree of Scorpio, the first time direct. Now it's back there retrograde, okay? And then it's going to move direct on the 6th. So it's only actually retrograde in Scorpio for a few days. So we have a few days to review things specifically from the end of October. If anybody can remember that time period, what did you have going on? Did you have something financial? Did you have something to do with intimacy that was discussed, or anything Scorpio themed, you know? And wherever Scorpio is in your natal chart, of course, there could be something reviewed and revised and looked at from a different perspective. So on December 6th, it goes direct at 27 degrees of Scorpio, and it'll be in Scorpio until around December 12th. Okay, so pretty much it'll be in Scorpio in the retrograde and shadow period from December 1st to December 12th. Hopefully all that information doesn't get you guys all like confused because I know I threw out a lot of dates, a lot of numbers and stuff, but we like to be detailed here. We're a sixth houser, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much what is going to be talked about, thought about, you know, communicated about, even electronically through email, through text, anything. Is anything Scorpio themed or anything where Scorpio is in your natal chart. Mercury won't actually be completely out of shadow period and all that stuff until around Christmas time. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, it's like December 24th, 25th, give or take a little bit of time. That's when it'll be out of shadow period, because that's when it'll leave the degrees that it started being retrograde in the first place, which was like 13 degrees of Sagittarius, I think. So I know that a lot of people do their holiday shopping. A lot of people do their holiday shopping at this time of year and buy a bunch of stuff. So I would say with the Mercury retrograde, just, you know, be aware of what you're purchasing. There may be some returns, a lot of returns, especially if you like work in retail. Same as last year. You guys know in 2017 in like November, December, we also had Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So if you work in you know, retail, or if you are a shopper, if you can remember back to last year, did you have any issues? There could be a repeat of that, even though the energies are not all exactly the same, but still, just the Mercury thing in general. Make sure you're reading everything. Make sure you're understanding what you purchased. I can say, like, personally, I did last year when I did some Christmas shopping, what would happen during the Mercury retrograde in Sag is I would pick up something. I'd be like, yeah, this is cool. I think so-and-so would like this. And then I would walk around with it, and I'd be like, nah, you know what? I think they would like something else. And I'd go put it back on the shelf, walk around the store, repeat like 3 times before I would either buy it or end up walking out of the store and say, I'm going to go get something else. So, you know, and of course, it depends on where Mercury lands in your chart. So if it lands in a money house, like if you're a water sign, Sag would land in like a money zone for you. Well, let's see, if you're a Scorpio or a Taurus, actually, it would land like more in a financial house. But yeah, so Mercury retrograde, just be aware of your purchases and read all the fine print, read the ingredients, even if it's just regular shopping you're doing during this time or whatever. So yeah. Okay. Um, L Jeff Coat says, "Good Lord, you just described me shopping. Oh my gosh." Yeah. Okay. So that's Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. So pretty much during the week that I'm covering, it's going to be super potent. Okay. Super duper potent. Okay. So also on the first, we have Sun square Mars. Sun square Mars is popping off like exact on December 1st. What does that mean? Well, the Sun and Mars are two of the most masculine influences when it comes to the planets. So they are the planets that are about action and initiative and asserting yourself, and physically moving around and having confidence and courage and executing things and being in charge. You know, that's what we mean by masculine. So they're squaring off with each other in mutable signs. I feel like this could be as a collective, like in general, just especially with it being immutable signs, maybe like a frustration and a struggle with trying to get things done and trying to initiate things, because both Sagittarius and Pisces, where the Sun and Mars are signs that don't really care for tedious tasks. They're escapists. They just want to do their own thing in their own zone, not bother, honey. Okay, just want to have freedom to do things and not really worry about responsibilities. So I see that as like an inner power struggle between people collectively of what they could be going through this weekend. It could just be a weekend where people want to chill out. They want to be in their own world, in their own heads a lot, with the Scorpio stuff in the mix too. And just be deep thinkers or just chill, and watch ID Discovery Channel of like those shows like Snapped and things about serial killers, and maybe just dive into some books about stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like deep topics, just really dive into them and not really do too much. Sun square Mars can bring just power struggles between like inner conflict with yourself on like initiating things, but also between people, between maybe yourself and other masculine people. Masculine doesn't always have to mean your gender physically as a male, just people with masculine energy. Maybe you can feel like you don't want to be pushed. Like if people try to push you under this influence, maybe you'll like resist and be like, no, I do what I want. Like I have the freedom to do what I want, and I don't really want to budge. Maybe I don't want to do that. So yeah. Okay. So anyway, Sun square Mars, but it's a tense aspect. For some people, it could be the opposite. And of course, once again, I'll keep being a nerd and saying this depends on where they land in your chart. Where's Sagittarius and where's Pisces in your chart? For some people, it could be the opposite. Maybe it's just the Sun and Mars in general. Like they want to get things done. And maybe you feel so frustrated that you really want to get up and take some action. It can still feel a little tedious though, just because of the mutable energy of it all that's in the mix that doesn't really like responsibilities and a lot of action, like that's not about fun, but yeah, it can still squares. I always say squares are tense, frustrating aspects, but with the frustration, it could lead to motivation. So it could be a very motivating influence, like, you know what, I'm so tired of this. I'm just gonna get up and do it, or I'm gonna get up and whatever. So yeah. Okay. And then on the second, we have Venus going back into Scorpio. I got to visit from my little cauldron. Whoa, I'm just kidding. My little Scorpio cauldron, mini cauldron. Before I cover Venus in Scorpio, because I have a lot to say about her. Okay, so just 1 second. Mercury is still retrograde. Technology is fun, right? Okay, so Venus going back into Scorpio. Whew, okay, so 0 degrees of Scorpio. When was the last time Venus there? What is she repeating? Man, September 9th of 2018 and October 31st of 2018. So we really, with Venus and Mercury, have a repeat of like the last couple of days of October. Oh my gosh. I'm blown away by that. And I'm kind of anticipating some things, but who knows what the universe will actually bring you. But divine timing and all these numbers and how they, figure into it is really crazy when you actually track this stuff and how meaningful it is. So if any of you guys can remember back to September 9th, around September 9th, October 31st, Venus at the 0-degree mark, she could be having you look at whatever was going on with love, money, your appearance, material things that you buy, your self-worth, all of that stuff from a different point of view for a third time, okay? So if you had any struggles at that time with any of those things, then maybe now is like looking at it from a perspective. And I think it'll be a lot less, I feel like it's a lot less tense than it was the first time that it was in Scorpio, okay? It's, I've been here before, I've covered this. Now it's like, okay, now I know what to do to move forward because she is moving completely forward now, okay? So Venus in Scorpio, the 2nd of December is when she enters again. And then she will be out of her shadow period, meaning she's moving past 10 degrees of Scorpio where she went retrograde. December 18th. So if you don't see right away when she enters Scorpio, like bing, aha, an epiphany of something that is repeating from the past couple of months, maybe when she's out of her shadow period, things will start to clear up, which in things that Venus rules and, wherever Scorpio is in your natal chart as well. She will sweeten things up there a little bit more. So, and Venus will be in Scorpio the whole entire month of December. So that's good news for water signs, especially Scorpios. And then she's not going to go into Sagittarius until like after the first week of January of 2019. Okay. So, Venus in Scorpio, enjoy her intensity, enjoy her fierceness. She plays no games. When she was retrograde, especially, I really saw Venus and Scorpio kind of act like, have you guys at least seen the meme, okay? If you haven't seen the movie, if you've seen the meme of Angela Bassett what movie was that? Waiting to Exhale, where she puts all her man's belongings in his car because they broke up because they had some major drama. She put all his belongings in his car. She lit the car on fire, lit a match through it. The car, whoosh, just went up in flames, and she just kept strutting and walking. Angela Bassett is such a Leo. Like, she was just strutting all her Leo way with her high heels, not even looking back there at what was burning behind her, And Venus in Scorpio, she loves to burn things, okay? Maybe literally if she goes through a breakup or or something like that, but also like, I guess you could say metaphorically or whatever, burning things away, things dying away. Like, you feel like Venus and Scorpio is very life or death in general. You could feel so passionate that you have to have somebody, or else you feel like you're going to die without them. Or it could be you just are just so disgusted with them and you find them to be super repulsive because they did something to you that just really stabbed your sensitive insides, that you feel like you want them to die. And granted, I'm not encouraging any taking of lives or burnings or stabbings or anything like that. Okay, I'm not encouraging that. I'm just saying you feel like that with Venus and Scorpio, So, but the good thing is once she gets away from Uranus, I would say when she's out of shadow period, which is like mid-December-ish, she won't be having like too many crazy aspects from what I saw. She will be making aspects to Neptune, which I may be here to talk about that in December, which is beautiful, so beautiful, and will keep her calm. You know what I'm saying? She won't be so like, I got to have you, oh my God, or I feel like I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to die without you. Neptune will help like calm that down a little bit. And also Mars will be in Pisces, and Mars is one of the ruling planets of Scorpio. So one of the depositors for Venus in Scorpio, which is Mars, it'll be in a sign that is complementary to her because it's a fellow water sign. And the first time she was in Scorpio, Mars was still in Aquarius, squaring her by sign. I think maybe by degree at some period too, but by sign, oh my gosh. So that was what was also like so frustrating the first time around. But now Mars is in a sign that's complementary. The other depositor, Pluto, still hanging out in Capricorn, another sign that's like complementary by aspect to the sign of Scorpio. So she'll be less crazy. But yeah, that's Venus in Scorpio. So the whole month of December, but yeah, she's what's the term I'm looking for? Retracing her steps. She's retracing her steps, you guys. So if you have any, if you can remember, if you have a good memory and you remember back the last couple of months, the last time Venus was in Scorpio, retrograde and everything, stationed, like what was going on, and is something going to be revisited? So or if you are experiencing this, you're coming back and watching this like later in the week or whatever, let us know in the comments what's going on. Hopefully some interesting stuff that's good. Okay, so moving on to December 5th. December 5th is when we have the sun squaring Neptune. Okay, so once again, that's the exact aspect, but it's building up already. So this is like sun square Mars, sun square Neptune. I just feel like, already this time of year, the end of the year, people are exhausted for many different reasons. People can be very exhausted. Maybe you're just like, I just want this year to be over. Maybe it's been rough, a tough ride. Maybe you have worked hard all year and you want to take some vacation time and just spend time with your family. In a lot of places in the world, maybe the weather is very cold and you just want to be inside, cozy, warm, Netflix and chill, hot cocoa, hot tea, whatever. You just want to relax, you want to chill. And I think the sun squaring Neptune is going to bring even more of that feeling like, oh, do I have to get up? Do I have to be responsible? Do I have to, take action and initiative? Like, you know what I'm saying? It could be that type of a vibe. It can also, any squares to Neptune, squares and oppositions to Neptune, I will always let you guys know the real deal, okay? They happen a few times a year. To be technical, Neptune is in Pisces, a mutable sign. Anytime we have anything in any other mutable signs, it's going to make a challenging aspect to Neptune. Neptune rules crossing boundaries, not even seeing a freaking boundary, okay? And that can lead to disrespect. But sometimes it could be unintentional because Neptune is very like you're in your own world. You're not even paying attention to what rules and boundaries are. But sometimes it can be deliberate, especially when there's squares from other mutable signs. Mutable signs can be very tricky, okay? Very tricky. Trickster energies on the lower vibration. And so can all of them can be, okay? All of them. And if you don't know what a mutable sign is, it's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, okay? So Sun in Sagittarius, square Neptune in Pisces, and this is around the holidays. And a lot of people, unfortunately, a negative thing about this time of year, people will saying it's the most wonderful time of the year. And a lot of people do become very charitable, and Neptune's energy is on a higher vibration about charity. And that's charity of your time, your money, your energy, your empathy, whatever, right? Giving that selflessly. So for some people, even though it's a square, it can bring out more of that, being more charitable, being more empathetic towards other people. But for some people, it could be trying to trick people, trying to take advantage of people, trying to fool them, because Neptune is like illusions, right? Illusions that you can weave yourself and cast, and you can manipulate others and try to take advantage because you take their kindness for weakness. Neptune rules victimization, especially being in the sign of Pisces, being a victim. So some people may try to play on others by pulling out their victim cards in order to like scam or deceive or something, you know? So that's something to watch out for. That happens this time of year all the time. And, you know, especially while Neptune is in Pisces, it's kind of, it's up there. Also, Neptune dissolves boundaries between, you know, people, like physically, spiritually, emotionally, and belongings and stuff like that. Whenever there's Neptune squares, I always hear about robberies happening, unfortunately. And this time of year too, people know that people are out shopping, especially in the US and the Western world. People are out shopping. So pay attention to if you are participating like a lot of shopping and stuff like that, because we have the Sun square Neptune on the 5th. And then on the 7th, we have Mars conjunct Neptune, and Mars is action. So people initiating action is very Neptunian, very Piscean at the same time. So this can be a week to where you need to be careful to, if you're shopping, you're buying, especially big box items, which literally are in big boxes, you know, worth a lot of money. Don't make sure you break them down, cut them up, and then put them in your trash can. Don't have them out to where everybody can see, oh, they just bought a brand new TV. They just bought a brand new bicycle for their kid. You know, they don't put up boundaries. Okay. Put up boundaries of protection of yourselves and your material items, your home, because trust me, the one time I had my house broken into, it was during this time of year. And yes, there were squares between Sagittarius planets and Neptune in Pisces, okay? My house was broken into. Actually, it was on Thanksgiving Day, which is supposed to be a happy day. No, but it's still Sag energy squaring Neptune in Pisces. And my house was broken into. So it's dissolving the boundaries between that stuff, people being tricksters, okay? So that is the negative lower vibration of it. I'm not saying that's happening for everybody, but people who are, you know, that's the way they operate, that's the frequency they're on, it's going to encourage them that, you know, to be, yeah, how can I scheme and scam? Yeah, what can I get? Yeah, I want this, and I don't see the boundary between myself and this thing that I want, so I'm just gonna go get it. Yeah. So, you know, that can happen with some of the transits towards the end of the week. Okay. And yes, Barbara makes a good point. She said addiction stuff. Yeah, and also Neptune does rule substances that people take in order to escape reality. And it's in Pisces, which rules the same thing. And then there's the Sagittarius energy squaring it, like the Sun and Sag squaring it. And Sag energy loves to party and doesn't see boundaries either, right? And they're both ruled by Jupiter, which is all about like, hey, the world is boundless and endless. You could do whatever you want, you know. So some people, yeah, if you have any issues with substances, like escapism through substances, this can be a week to where you are tested. I'm just going to let you know that and keep it real too, okay? Or if you know people that have that type of an issue, keep an eye on them this coming week, especially, all right? But, you know, the Sagittarius and the Neptune energy, you know, even though there's squares and there's like tight conjunction between Mars and Neptune, what can it be good for? What can it be good for? Well, like I said, if you are able to just take the time out to chill, not worry about responsibilities, do nothing, not worry about time, because Neptune energy does not care about time, okay? The constructs of time here on Earth doesn't give a crap about that. It's all about getting lost in the moment. So if you can afford to be lost in the moments of bliss and everything, oh yeah, it's going to be a really good week for you. If you can afford to, if you're creative, if you're like a super creative person, even though this is squares to Neptune, it's going to bring more Neptunian energy out of you to where you can channel that creativity. So, and just get lost in feelings and moments that produce whatever art you perform or create. So it's actually good for some things, okay? And then Mars, which is action, combined with Neptune, which is like divine, creativity. Especially if you do anything that combines the two, it could be a really good transit for you, especially on the 7th. Like if you're a dancer, for example, that's the ultimate Mars and Neptune thing, right? And in Pisces, you can be doing really well with your dancing or come up with some really cool ideas because you're just going to be so into it and not even connected to, the real world, the regular world stuff. You're just going to go off into that zone and just create. So it's good for some things, but beware of scammers, beware of thievery, beware of people trying to play on your emotions and playing the victim role and acting like they need to be saved when really they can just do things for themselves. Have you guys seen those memes to where it's like someone is in some very shallow water and they're like, oh my God, help me. Like only their face is above the water. Like, oh, I can't do it. I can't swim. Someone needs to save me. And then you see in the next slide or picture or whatever, that water is so shallow. That person, all they got to do is just stand up on their own and then they can be above the water. That's what I think of when I think of like harsh Neptune stuff, is people having that attitude. Like, come on now, son, you can do it on your own. You don't really need to be rescued. So it's people either thinking that or people playing a role, giving an illusion of like, I'm drowning out there. So people will, oh my God, let me rescue you. So yeah. Okay. So, so that's what's going on. Oh my gosh. Edgardo says, been drinking too much. Yeah, just keep that, I know this is a very celebratory time of year for a lot of people, different parts of the world, different cultures for different reasons. Sag is in the air. Sag likes to let loose. Neptune is in the air. Neptune just loves to go off out of this world. But just really still try to keep yourselves grounded, okay, as much as you possibly can. All right. So that's all the Neptune conjunctions and squares popping off. So finally, and this is what I'm going to give you guys a horoscope for every sign for. So there is a new moon in Sagittarius happening on the 6th or 7th of December, depending upon where you're at in the world, because I think in the more of the Western and the West Coast of US and stuff, it's like the 6th because it's really late at night. And then if you're more in the eastern part of the world, it's the 7th because it's like the wee hours of the AM. So that's when we have the new moon in Sagittarius. It's at 15 degrees of Sag. So this new moon is also making squares to Neptune and Mars. I think that was the only aspects that I saw that were affecting the new moon. Jupiter is in the same sign as the new moon, but I wouldn't completely count it as a conjunction. Still a little too far away, but it's still in the same sign, so it can still have an effect. You'd have to feel it out for yourself and, let us know if you felt the conjunction of Jupiter or not. But just being traditional and nerdy, it's not the conjunction by degree. But we have a new moon in Sagittarius. And I think the square to Neptune and Mars will have an imprint on the new moon. Although new moons they're great times to cultivate things, new things and stuff, new beginnings and everything. And of course, wait till the moon is visible, like a couple days after, when you see the little sliver of it, for it to really count as a time that could be more fruitful and manifesting things, in this wherever it lands in your natal chart. But the square to Neptune and Mars and Pisces, I think it's just the message is mostly just, yes, be excited about things, which is Sagittarius. Be excited about things and have optimism, have faith in your goals, your dreams, the actions you want to take, the changes you want to make. But the challenge could be maybe actually doing the things that you talk about doing and that you make the plans and the goals for doing. Because, like I said, Neptune and Pisces are not very, it's not about action. It dissolves action. Those two planets together, especially, they dissolve action. They don't really want to do much. They can get lost very easily. Oh, that's another thing. With the Mars and Neptune conjunction next week, when you're driving, be very careful because this can be, along with Mercury being retrograde or still in shadow at that time, that's a very common accident prone transit. Okay. Whether that's driving or even walking, riding a bike, it's very clumsy because it makes you lose your direction, gives your mind like this fog to where you're like, oh, you start daydreaming and then, who knows what can happen because you're not focused. So be very mindful of that. But yeah, in aspect to the new moon though, I think the sense of direction is not necessarily like physical walking around or driving or anything. It's more so like the seeds you want to plant during the new moon in Sag. Make sure that you are truly up to stepping up to the plate. Make sure you're truly up to doing what it is that you're like, yeah, and you're so hyped about, and that you're promising. Make sure you're not promising more than you can deliver, whether that's to other people or to yourself under a new moon like this. You can still grow things, you still start new things and all that stuff, but just make sure you're being realistic about them before taking action. You know what I'm saying? Also, Mars and Neptune together could be very magical. Neptune and Pisces do rule magic. So really making some amazing, out of this world, you didn't think they were going to happen, that they were possible to happen, things can happen. If that makes sense, what I just said. Yeah, so it can be making some dreams come true. Neptune and Pisces rule dreams, so taking action towards your dreams. Like, I really have faith in this happening, and but just make sure that it's the dreams are as realistic as possible. Okay. So that's, that could be a little bit of the challenge with the new moon in Sagittarius. But yeah, Sag energy gets hyped, gets really hyped about their goals and their plans, and they can usually execute them pretty well. And then with Jupiter being in the same sign, kind of trailing back there behind the new moon, he's still, sending some supporting like energy, to some degree. So, excuse me. Yeah, so that's a new moon in Sagittarius. So that's once again on December 6th, December 7th, depending upon your time zone. All right. So now let me see what you guys are saying in the chat really quick. If there's any like questions that I can actually answer or anything. And then I'm going to get into your horoscope for all the signs for the new moon in Sagittarius. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Looks like you guys are just having your own little conversations, which is cool. I definitely encourage that. Okay. So let's get into the horoscope by sign for the new moon in Sagittarius. Before I do that, let me just tell you guys that if you participated in the Jupiter and Sagittarius webinar, thank you so much. We were doing it during Mercury in shadow and retrograde. So if there was any misunderstandings about anything, I'm hoping we've got them all cleared up by now. And of course, if not, then please shoot me an email. My inbox is insane still. I'm still calming it down, but just let me know. But even though Jupiter is already progressing through the sign of Sagittarius, it's not too late to, watch the webinar, take notes. We really go into detail on if it's making aspects to this planet or that planet, or the ruler of this house or that house, or it's not just only like by sign, sun sign forecasts that we do. We really go in depth with parts of your natal chart that it will affect your life to some degree. So Jupiter is still in Sag for another year till December 2019, my bad. So the link is in the description if you want to still get some knowledge, on what it's going to do for you. And I have other webinars that I've done with Lada. Love doing webinars with Lada. She's so awesome. Also in the description box too. Okay. So now let's talk about the new moon in Sag. What is it going to do for all the signs? Okay, so let's start with Aries. So if you're an Aries sun sign, rising, or moon sign, the new moon in Sag is going to be in your 9th house. So you are definitely goal oriented during that time. You're definitely trying to make some changes that make you feel like you're just living your best life, that you're actually living and not just existing. You want some life experiences. I know we talk about travel, we talk about education. So yeah, you could be making some decisions based on those things, like travel plans, or should I go back to school, or what classes should I take next, or whatever. Excuse me. But also, you life experiences don't always have to be those. That's where you gain wisdom and knowledge and stuff like that. Yes, by travel and education, but it can even be, hey, I just want to start getting out more, even locally. Like I want to start getting out more and experiencing different things, and experiencing more culture, and just incorporating new and exciting different stuff into my life that can help me to learn more about the world and feel like I'm a citizen of the world, not just a citizen of wherever it is that I live in my own little bubble. You know what I mean? So Aries people, yeah, you're trying to go off on a new journey with this new moon in Sag. It can be either literally, like physically go on a trip, or excuse me, it could be mentally, because that's one of the mental houses in the charts, a higher mind. So whatever can expand your mind, can be what you're trying to cultivate during this new moon in Sag. But of course, with the squares to planets in Pisces, make sure that your goals are realistic. Make sure your goals are realistic, and that you are actually going to execute them, and that you are not biting off more than you can chew, so to speak. Meaning, like, promising yourself, oh yeah, I can do it. I can commit to this, and yeah, I can do it. But then it turns out, oh no, you know what? It's a little too much for me. So just make sure it's nothing like that. But yeah, it's all about your goals and just feeling like a citizen of planet Earth, and that you can have the freedom to do what you want, go where you want, experience big, exciting things. So that's what it is for Aries people. Excuse me. And there is a question that is very important. Do I recommend us listening to your sun, moon, or rising for horoscopes? Listen to all three. Thank you for the question, Brian. Listen to all three. The first, I would say ascendant is first with being accurate. The sun is also very accurate too. That's second. And then the moon is third. It's also very accurate. It's how you are perceiving things and what your feelings are about things that are happening is the moon. And it could also mean what's going on, like emotionally or family wise. So, that's the order in which I recommend you listening to your horoscopes. Okay. All right. So, excuse me. So now let's get back into the horoscopes. Now for Tauruses. So if you're Taurus rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon, new moon in Sagittarius is in your 8th house. Ooh. And then you've got some stuff happening in Scorpio in your opposite sign at the same time. I think this could be a new beginning with intimacy for some of you guys. I think it could be like new intimate experiences, or new level that is being, things are taken to within a relationship. Like maybe you're, kind of reviewing some things. Maybe if you're already in an existing one, maybe you guys did go through a rocky period during Venus retrograde, but now it's just like, okay, we've got through that. We've worked things out. We are talking things over, and now we are accepting our fate and we're moving things ahead. That can mean moving things ahead with continuing to be together, work on a relationship, see eye to eye on things. Venus will definitely help with that. Mercury is the communication with that. But then the new moon is a new level of, okay, now we have like peeled back a new layer with knowing each other on a very deep level. And, maybe we went through some things, but now this can help us to be a little closer. It can help us in the intimacy department. For some of you guys, it could be the opposite. Maybe you realize that, especially during the Venus retrograde, hey, we need to go our separate ways. And a new moon in the 8th house. 8th house is joint finances and joint assets that you have. Joint assets, when I say that, I know it sounds all fancy and everything, but that can even be like, we bought this couch together. You know what I'm saying? You know, it could be that, or it could be like, okay, now we need to proceed with this divorce. It could be now we need to proceed with this separation of our assets that we joined together in the 8th house in some time ago. Okay. And we need to accept our fate. So yeah, and I'll just let you guys know, as a Taurus sun sign, that is exactly what I can attest to being something that could be going on with this new moon. It's like, now we're moving forward, we're separating things and figuring out who gets what, who goes where, separating the finances and all that stuff. Like maybe finalizing that, a new beginning with that can be happening. So yeah, but for some Tauruses, this, maybe it doesn't have to really do with a relationship. Maybe it's like a business partnership, like collaboration. Like, okay, I've been trying to collaborate with this person or this company or this group or whatever on this business deal or something to do with business for a minute. We couldn't get things right because of the retrogrades. But with the new moon, it's giving us a new perspective, a new idea. Like, okay, now we can start, you know, proceeding forward with things that are going to help us to make money together under a collaboration. So that's mostly what it is for Tauruses. For some of you guys, if you have nothing to do with relationships or other people or anything, a new moon in the 8th house is clarity being brought to you when it comes to your own well-being, like emotionally, because the 8th house is trauma, like experiences, emotional experiences that really deeply affected you in one way or another. Usually, like, yeah, in one way or another, let's just say that. So it could be a new like revelation of something, light being brought to something, you know, over the next couple of weeks. Like, wow, you know what? I discovered that I was really deeply affected by such and such, and maybe I need therapy, maybe I need counseling, maybe I need to just do something to heal from that. You know what I mean? So that's what it is for Tauruses. Excuse me. So next up is Gemini. So if you're a Gemini rising, sun, or moon, the new moon in Sag is in your 7th house. Okay, so the new moon in Sag is in your 7th house. So this is something to do with relationships for you guys. There could be maybe some like getting along with people in general, something work related, something career related that's surrounding the new moon too, because I'm thinking about Venus and Mercury back in Scorpio. That's your 6th house of work, and then the aspects to Mars and Neptune in Pisces, which is your 10th house. So there could be some things that you're clearing up with getting along with people at work, or negotiating something to do with work or career. But some of you guys, it could just be the whole relationship thing. Like a new level is going to be brought into a relationship. Maybe you guys went through a rocky time also with Venus retrograde, because it went back to your 5th house of romance too. So maybe there's some things that you guys figured out during, you know, Venus retro in Libra especially. And now it's like, okay, now I've had that experience with this romantic partner or with dating, and now I have a new beginning in the realm of dating. That can be a realization that you need to switch things up with how you do things when it comes to dating and attracting people. Or it could be in an existing relationship, or it could be the development of a new relationship. It's just all relationship stuff is what it's looking like for Gemini people. So, but yeah, just make sure that things are realistic. Okay, make sure before you jump and make a decision to like be with somebody or whatever. The squares to Neptune can be you being fooled by people, not seeing them for who they really are, what they really are. Lots of illusions in place, you know, so just be mindful of that and be careful. Okay. All right. So next up is Kim. Oh, hey, what's up, Rachel? Thanks for coming through. You know, I love and appreciate you always showing support. And also I saw Monifa. Monifa said hello. If I missed any of you guys, forgive me. I'm just trying to like, I have been on hiatus for a minute and I haven't been giving you guys my, you know, perspective, my horoscope. So I'm just trying to like, just do it, you know? Okay. When is Mercury going direct? Mercury is going direct on December 6th and will be out of shadow period. Like around Christmas Eve, December 24th, 25th, give or take a little bit of time. Okay. And oh, what's up, Simone? Thank you so much. I'm glad to see you here too. One of my OGs as well. Okay. All right, guys. So moving on to Cancer. So if you are a Cancer sun, rising, or moon sign, the new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 6th house. So some of you guys can have a new beginning as far as your work is concerned. You can be, maybe if you've been trying to get a new position at your job, you've been trying to get a new job or get, maybe leave a job. Although new moons, I don't always associate with leaving. But if it's to create a new beginning for yourself, yes, new moons you can see people saying, I need a new chapter. So therefore my new chapter doesn't include this job. So F you, you're cool, F you, I'm out. I forgot where that's from. If anybody knows what that movie scene is from, let me know, because it's been so long, I forgot. But I know it's from a movie, and I always hear people talk about it. Oh my gosh, Jasmine says she got fired. Jasmine, are you a Cancer? Well, yeah, you know what? Honestly, you guys, sometimes people do get fired around new moons. Yes, it's a great time for new exciting beginnings and stuff, but no, real world, real talk, sometimes that does happen. But if it does, you see the divine timing of it all, right? It's during a new moon. That means that door, it needs to close in order for a new one to open up for you. So that means something new is on the horizon for you, okay? So yeah. Oh, you're a Cancer? Yeah, see? Well, you know what, Jasmine? You have something to look forward to. That's a chapter that needs to close for you, my dear. Okay. And you're having a baby too. Congratulations on the new baby. And yeah, you need a rest for that baby. So maybe that job, if you would have stayed there, girl, maybe they wouldn't have allowed that. Maybe their maternity leave sucks, or you know what I'm saying? There could have been something that just would not have worked out with you staying and having a baby. So just count it as a blessing of divine timing. Okay. As a Cancer. So yeah, Cancers, something new with work. Also, this is a new moon to where new moons in the 6th house, sometimes people do things like cleanses, like physically, they do cleanses and fasts, and they start new diets and stuff like that. Just make sure that if you do, with the squares to Neptune in the mix, seems to be a little cloudy and foggy, and you don't really have clarity on stuff. Just make sure that it's something you can commit to realistically, okay? And for some of you guys, this could be a cleansing of not just your body, but maybe like your home and the habits that you have with taking care of your home, your environment around you that you're in every single day. So maybe you're like, you know what? I just need to do a clearing of this house. I need to get rid of stuff. It's the end of the year anyway. I need to sage this place. Okay. It needs that type of clarity up in here. So there could be a lot of different cleansing that's going on for you, Cancers. And it could be just to feel healthier and happier, whether that's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever. The 6th house is health. So it's mostly physical health, but anything that makes you feel like good from the inside out, clearing something away, starting something new to help you to have good habits with that is what this new moon could be doing for you guys. Okay. All right. So next up is Leo. So if you are a Leo rising, a Leo sun, or Leo moon, the new moon in Sagittarius is in your 5th house. So that is the Leo zone. I mean, it's your home base for you guys. You're the 5th sign. So 5th house is pretty much you guys being within your element. So a new moon there, it could be a new moon with Leo stuff. You know what I mean? Being romantic, being paid attention to, being confident, having fun, making sure that you feel good and have the courage to put yourself out there in the spotlight in some way or another. So there's something new developing with that. For some of you guys, it can be a new romance that comes through. There's squares to Neptune and Mars and Pisces, which is in your 8th house of intimacy. From the new moon in the 5th house of dating and romance. So there could be a new romantic beginning for you guys, and it could be like really bomb in the intimacy department, like really out of this world, but just make sure that you really know the person, like that they're not trying to fool you in any type of way, pull the wool over your eyes, okay? And make sure that they're not trying to drain you spiritually too, because that's what comes to mind with those squares. But new beginning in the 5th house, for some of you guys, you know what? It's crazy. I know a Leo rising that I can think of, that there's a new moon in their 5th house, which is of children. So it's a new beginning with their relationship with their children. But then there's 8th house, there's squares to 8th house energy, which means their children are really going to need their support, financial support, which is 8th house. So they may feel challenged by this. Like, yeah, I don't mind, a new beginning with my relationship with my child by helping them out, but it is going to kind of drain my finances a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on for some of you Leos. For some of you guys, yeah, it could be that you discover something within your heart chakra that has been dormant, for a minute, and you're like, I just want to get out and have fun. I just want to get out and have a good time. What lights me up? You know what I mean? What makes me feel excited and like, Leos live for that, those gasp moments to be dramatic and, oh, this is so great. Or, oh, the drama. Like Leos live for stuff like that. What gives you that feeling, but in a good way, Leo? So there could be a new discovery of something that just comes to you, with this new moon that gives you that feeling. And you're going to incorporate it into your life, try to manifest that over the next few weeks. So some Leos, it could be a pregnancy or birth or something too. That's also the 5th house as well. Maybe something new that's creative that you're developing. You want to get into like a new hobby or something that really takes you away spiritually and really still shows off your talents. And maybe you could turn it into a business or something too. Maybe that's what's going on for you guys. But yeah, I see like some family, some children, and some financial stuff, and maybe some intimacy stuff too for Leos. Okay, so next up is Virgo. So if you're a Virgo rising, sun or moon, the new moon in Sagittarius is in your 4th house. Okay, it's happening in your 4th house. This is family. This is your home where you actually live. So some Virgos actually may be moving. I know a few of them that are actually with this new moon. They probably will have the finalization of where their new home is, or maybe finalizing the actual move itself and be in the new home. Some of you guys may have been putting your home on the market, and maybe with this new moon, once it progresses a little bit, you guys will get some, get a bite, get a sale, get a something that'll be signed after Mercury's out of shadow is what I would recommend, of course, towards the end of the month. But if you can't help it, can't wait, just remember Mercury's in shadow. Anything to do with signing anything to do with the new home, make sure you read all the fine print and you understand all the details, okay? Yeah, actually I know like 3 Virgos that are moving. So wow, this definitely is playing out for them. And then there are squares to Mars and Neptune in your 7th house, which is relationships. So maybe the moving situation could be in conflict with a relationship, or maybe it's because of a relationship. I know one Virgo that they might be moving because a relationship has been like challenging for them, and so their living situation is going to change with that, but it's for the better. I am happy for them. Okay. But yeah, so maybe it could be you're moving in with somebody, you're moving out because of somebody, or moving out with other people, or something to do with others and moving. Maybe there's some family situation that's a new beginning that's coming up, but the challenge is like getting your relationship partner on board with it, or maybe getting your family on board with the relationship that you're in. There's just those 2 areas that are like in conflict with each other, but something has to be worked out. You know what I mean? So yeah, and there's still stuff popping in your 3rd house at the same time as this new moon. So the 3rd house is communication. So there's definitely some communication stuff that's being worked on and improved, along with the whole like moving thing. But the biggest focus is home base, your family, where you live. Okay, where do you find to be like comfortable for you? So that's what it is for Virgos. Interesting stuff. Excuse me. Okay, so hold on, let me take a sip really quick before I lose my voice, and I don't want to choke on camera. Hold on. Is this thing on? Mic check. Okay. Okay. A couple of comments. First of all, thank you, Phil, for coming through. All right. And second of all, Ariu, I don't have my contacts in, but says maybe moving with a partner because of family rejection from family. Yeah, some people can have that go on. You know, you just got to do the astrological math between those two areas of life and figure out. So those two areas of life plus challenge equals this scenario. And there could be like a couple different equations that it comes to. Okay. So, Oche, oh my gosh, you keep changing your name. I send you a lot of love for coming through. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So good to see you here. But yes, you got it right though. You know your stuff. So yes, definitely. Okay, so now moving on to Libra. So if you're a Libra rising, Libra sun, or Libra moon, the new moon in Sagittarius is in your third house, which is communication. And third house new moons, I see people with the way that they get around, not like that, not like Tupac I get around, but well, for some people, the third house is variety. But anyway, I'm talking about how you actually move around. Like, do you drive around? Do you take public transportation? Do you ride a bike? Do you walk? Like what your commute is like. To get to your day-to-day places is the third house. And for some people, that is their vehicles too. The operation of their vehicles can be affected by third house transits. So for some Libras, a new moon in the third can mean something to do with like a new car or a new beginning with an existing vehicle. Maybe you got like a problem that was fixed, that during Mercury retrograde, it was something that was troublesome came up, but you know, especially when Mercury was retrograde in Sagittarius in your third house, maybe there was like a mechanical issue that came up with your vehicle. But now with the new moon, it's like, oh, now it's going to be fixed and you can move ahead. Or, oh, now it's determined you need a new car. So that's what you're going to do. For some of you guys, it could be moving to a new area. Sometimes I see new moon in the third house is like, you know, moving like to a new neighborhood. Like it's newness, which is new moon. With regard to a neighborhood, which is the third house. For some people, it is communication devices, the way in which they communicate. That could mean either like you have something to where you say, you know what, I'm going to stop cursing, or I'm going to be better at getting back to people in this way with communication. It could be something like that. Or it could be literally like, I need a new phone. I am sick of this phone that I have. Oh my gosh, it just acts up. And during Mercury retrograde, I accidentally dropped it or smashed it, or it started doing a lot of stupid stuff. So I need a new phone. Or you know what? I need a new computer, a new laptop, because mine is being ridiculous, or it doesn't have enough power. Like, you know, anything that you utilize to communicate besides your voice, you can have something new there. That's what I usually see with new moons in the third house. Could be also that you want to learn a new skill, Libra. You know, you just decide with the new moon, you know what? I want to actually learn how to cook, because I usually go out all the time and people pay for my dinner, so I don't have to cook. You guys like my little Libra impression? I'm just messing with you guys. But no, it could be like a new skill you decide that you want to learn. It could be something like that, like cooking, or you know what, I want to learn a different language. You know what I'm saying? It could be something like that. So new moon in the third house, not too super impactful. Third house, you know, stuff I find it's more like lot more subtle than some of the other areas of life that could be affected by new moons. But yeah, so but remember there's squares to Neptune, and Neptune can cloud things and fog things, and this is a new moon in your third house of your mind and your communication. So yeah, make sure that whatever you decide to do, Neptune can rule losses of things. So maybe, and things not working right too. So maybe there's something that you guys have to be aware of with if you do buy a new device or you do get a new car or something fixed with your car. Make sure that everything really is as it seems with the operation of those things. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So a Libra rising and moon got themselves a new website. Okay, cool. Hey, that's awesome, Phil. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So next up is Scorpio. So if you are a Scorpio rising sun or moon, the new moon in Sagittarius is in your second house, which is your earned income. Okay, so some Scorpios, maybe there is something new that you need to do in order to earn money. So as with all the water signs, you guys could have new jobs on the horizon. All of you guys, okay? Yes, Akeisha, fellow Scorpio rising, what's up? So yeah, some of you guys could be looking for a new way to make money, a new job. And as with the other water signs, some of you guys, yes, sometimes a new moon can show someone getting fired or let go from a source of income or a job, but it's because it's something closing in order for a new chapter to open up for you that's a lot better. So if something devastating like being let go of from a job happens around a lunar event, like a new moon or a full moon, just think, hey, it's in divine time. Just remember it's in divine timing, okay? So something better is definitely on the horizon. It was supposed to happen at this time. But for some of you guys, though, maybe it is good news with a new job. You've been applying, you've been putting yourself out there, making the efforts, schmoozing with bosses and stuff. Like, I really need this raise because second house is your income. So maybe you guys already have a job, but you're trying to, get paid a little bit more. So maybe there's something new that you're going to be doing to get paid more, get a raise, or maybe get a second job or something that you know how to do to make money from, like a creative talent or something. Maybe you can do something to create a form of income for yourself. Now, with that being said, there are the squares, the challenges from Neptune and Mars in your fifth house, which is creativity and creative projects and stuff. So that's really good energy. Actually, Neptune and Mars together in the fifth house is very, it can be very beneficial for you because it is like having the courage to create magic. You know what I'm saying? And just get lost in that magical moment of creation and bam, But so yeah, anyway, so you can create something that you can maybe make money off of, but just make sure that it's realistic. That's the thing with the square of Neptune. Make sure that it's realistic. You're not biting off more than you can chew. You're not promising more than you can deliver, either to yourself or to other people or whatever. With whatever you decide to create to make money, okay? So yeah, excuse me. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So Stephen says, you started learning how to sew and you make Barbie clothes. And are you a Scorpio, Stephen? And if so, this could be something that you can do. Hey, that's still a talent and a skill and a thing that you can sell. You know what I'm saying? So, and let's see, Acoustic asks, if you're a Scorpio rising, you're at the very end of the sign. Does that move to your first house? It can affect the first house. I tend to stick with the traditional and say that if you're a Scorpio rising, Sagittarius is the second sign from Scorpio. It's second house. Just to keep things less complicated, okay, when giving general forecasts especially. If you want to look at your own personal stuff, and if you can tell it affected your first house, then definitely roll with that. But if you're asking me, I stick with the traditional with that. You know, I'll bend things a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not so by the book, old school, you know, but just to keep it simple, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, say that. Oh, you're a Saggy rising. Okay, gotcha. Okay, guys. So yeah, Scorpio risings, something new financially for you, developing. And maybe it could be something good, something creative, something that you feel really good about doing to make money, because we've got Venus now in your sign again. Now she's back in your sign for the third time and she's not retrograde. Oh my God, just side note, Scorpios, as a Scorpio rising, I'm so happy for us that Venus is back in our sign direct. When she was retrograde, please let me know, fellow Scorpios, did you feel at any point ugly or insecure or anything like that? Like, no, just being honest, seriously, because Venus rules feeling very worthy and valuable, and she rules feeling beautiful, and she rules vanity. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I talked to so many Scorpio risings, and even a friend of mine that has Venus in Scorpio was going through some things when it came to feeling beautiful and feeling secure with themselves. Like, had some moments, let me tell you, like I remember we both had moments where we were like, why didn't you tell me I had something on my face? I'm walking around looking stupid. Or like, oh my gosh, how dare you say this and this? Like, I had somebody tell me a couple times when Venus was in Scorpio retrograde, oh, you look tired. You know, that's one of my pet peeves. I hate that when people point that out. Like, gee, thanks. You're pretty much to me. You're telling me that I'm ugly. You know, so I really took high offense to it when Venus was retrograde in Scorpio, the sign of your first house, your appearance, and Venus rules vanity. It made me feel like I wanted to hide in a hole and just die ugly by myself. So I'm so glad Venus is direct. Now we can proceed with like, okay, I learned some stuff about my self-worth, my, you know, valuing myself, and also going back to the new moon in the second house, sticking to the subject, okay? My gosh. So yes, the second house is also how you value things in life, but also how you value yourself too. Like, how much of yourself do you give away? Do you allow others to like downgrade you, you know, with what you're worth? And so now Venus back in your first house, you know, and she rules that stuff too. And she's moving forward. You should be feeling really good about yourself, more confident, more secure, and especially your appearance and stuff. And then the new moon in the second house is like, you know what? Maybe I was being very silly. You know, maybe it's a realization, an epiphany you're having. Like, maybe I was being silly about like, oh my God, I had that one hair that stuck up in that picture and made me just feel horrible during Venus retrograde, you know, and it ruined my life. Maybe now the new moon is in your second house. It's like, I was being so dumb. I am worth so much more than that. I really am, you know, this, that, or the other. Like, it can help you to boost that a little bit more, along with Venus being in Scorpio. So anyway, just to let me bring it back in. You know, there's a lot of Neptune in the air, which can make especially us Neptunians go, woo. But just bringing it back in, Scorpio, new beginnings with money is the most strongest thing that I see happening here. But just make sure that if you're creating new money, that you are fully aware of everything in a realistic manner that you can really execute and really achieve. Okay. All right. So now moving on to Sagittarius. So if you're a Sag, sun, moon, or rising, excuse me, this new moon in Sagittarius is in your sign. It's in your sign. So anything in your life could be a brand new beginning. It can have a brand new beginning, especially if your birthday is around the 6th or the 7th, give or take a few days before, a few days after of December. It's like initiating a new chapter, a new year for you. Like, the whole year from one birthday to the next is going to be full of like newness. Okay. And then you guys have Jupiter in your sign anyway. So I'd imagine a lot of Sagittarians are really having some good things happening for them overall. I have seen some because I follow a lot on social media. I follow a lot of Sagittarius risings, I've noticed. Like, a lot of people who are super popular and successful are Sag risings. And a lot of them have been like, oh my God, I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy, more than they usually are. And oh, a lot of good things have been happening to me. I had this happen, that happened, this happened, that happened. So, you know, this new moon can bring even more of that for you guys. But remember, the squares to Neptune can mean that you need to not leap before you look, which a lot of Sagittarians tend to do. Anyway, you guys have like such faith, such optimism in your actions and stuff, but then there's squares to Mars, which is action, and Neptune, which is dissolvement and like being, you know, fooled and stuff. So just make sure that you guys are fully aware of everything that you're trying to do, that it can really be executed. You know what I'm saying? And the squares to Neptune and Mars are happening in your 4th house, which is your family. It's where you live. Wow. So yeah, maybe there's things that you want to do, but maybe your family is like giving you the side eye. Maybe they're like, I don't even know if you can really, are you sure you can do that, Sagittarius? Are you sure you're capable of that? Are you sure that plan can really go pan out? And you're like, I'm just going to jump and do it. And they're like, really now? Let us put some reality back in your face. Or, you know, but the squares to Neptune and Mars can be, maybe there's things that you want to do for yourself to create a new beginning, a new chapter, whatever. But there could be like an issue with like moving though, like or feeling comfortable and secure with where you live at. Maybe there's something like, I want to just suddenly up and migrate to another part of the world or country. But maybe there's like, well, hold up, I have these dogs. Sagittarius always have dogs. Rather than kids, most Sagittarians usually have dogs. But what about my dogs though? Am I going to be able to realistically take my dogs along with me on this new journey that I'm going on? Or if you're a Sag that actually does have children, maybe it's like, well, what about my kids? What about my family? You know, they don't want to jump and fly off to another country like I do. So what am I going to do? Is this realistically something that I can do, that can happen? But yeah, you guys have Jupiter on your side, you know, in your ear, back there behind the new moon, like, yeah, we can do it. We can do whatever we want to do. It's great. Everything's awesome. So I would say wait until after the new moon progresses, you know, and have a little bit more clarity of whatever change you want to make with yourself. For some of you guys, it's your appearance, with it being the 1st house. Maybe you really want to make a change in your appearance. Maybe it's just something as simple as, you know what, on the new moon, you go shopping. You say, I want to change up my wardrobe. I want to change up my look. You know, like it's boring me. And I feel like a new person, especially with Jupiter in your sign, I feel like a new person who wants better and bigger things in their life. And I feel like making a change to my appearance would help to further put me in that zone, in that feeling of I'm a new person, you know? So yeah, maybe that's what's going on for Sagittarius. Oh my God, I don't know what it is about. Sometimes when I do live streams, my nose itches. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so that's what it is for Sagittarians. Okay, so, and happy birthday to all my Saggy people too. I love you guys so much. You're like some of my favorite people ever in the whole wide world. Okay. So next up is Capricorn. So if you're a Cappy rising, a Cappy sun, a Cappy moon, then this is the new moon in Sagittarius is in your 12th house. So what this can mean is there's a new beginning with you that actually is probably closing out some old chapters first. If anything, you're probably the sign that may have that happen the most, like a closing out of something else, going away, a door closing before you actually move on to new beginnings, because this is happening in the sign before you, Capricorn. So before you can have a new beginning with yourself, which is the 1st house, Capricorn, you got to close out some old stuff, which is the 12th house in Sagittarius. Okay. So, yeah, this is what could be going on for you guys. So, you know, and this is a time of year when people become charitable, especially Capricorns, because maybe you guys are reflecting back on the last 12 months. You're reflecting back on life, okay? Because this is like your season 2 coming up. you're just reflecting back on stuff, and you're like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need that anymore. That could be material things. That can even be people. Some of you guys may be having your cutoff game be strong during Sag season because you're like, you don't fit into my life anymore. And I'm trying to have a new chapter, especially because, sneak preview, you guys have an eclipse. The next new moon in January is going to be an eclipse in your sign. So I feel like this new moon is very, very important for Capricorn people because whatever that January eclipse will bring is going to be major. Like, you're really going to be changing yourself in huge ways. And I'm thinking that eclipse may be in a conjunction with Pluto in your sign too, even. I'm going to double check that real quick before I continue because I know Cappies, I need the facts. I need the truth and the facts. You can't say you think and maybe. All right, so new moon, 15 degrees Cap. Pluto is at 20. Yeah, so it will be in a conjunction with Pluto. Yeah, Pluto and Saturn. So it is a very life-changing eclipse for Capricorn people. So before that, what you got to do, what you got to get rid of, who do you got to get rid of? You got to get rid of some stuff. You know what I mean? It could be emotional baggage that you've been hanging on to, as well as like physical items. You know, a lot of Cappies could be having garage sales or just donating a lot of stuff to thrift stores or giving away a lot of stuff instead of being a Scrooge or a Grinch like usual. I love you guys too, Capricorn. No, you guys could just be like, you know what? This doesn't belong in my life anymore and I need to let it go. This can all just be mental too. Maybe it's nothing like outside of you to do with others that you're going to be doing or stuff that you're going to be touching or doing anything with. It could just be within you. Like, I need to get rid of a certain attitude that I have, a certain mentality, a certain perspective. If I want to evolve as a person, you know, and be a lot better, because that eclipse is about evolving, trust me, and transforming in many ways. So before you do that, you know, you got to let a lot of stuff go. This could also be, I think that's mostly what it is. There's some closure that's going to be going on for you guys. A lot of times with 12th house new moons, I'll mention, oh, it might be, you know, you find a new way to kind of chill and relax. Because, you know, maybe you guys haven't been doing too much of that. Maybe you guys are always, most of Capricorns are always working a lot and, you know, business people and everything. And maybe you just need to take some time out for yourself. There could be something that comes up around the new moon that tells you that actually, you know what, Cappy, you need to chill. You need to take some time out. You need to use some of your PTO. Use some vacation time. Isn't that a thought? Oh my God. I know you guys usually don't like to do stuff like that, but maybe it is like, you know what? I really do need to chill because I've been working very hard. I haven't even been focusing on myself. No self-care, no time for me to think, for me to relax. So maybe the new moon can tell you that too. All right. Okay. So, yeah, life-changing even if your moon is in Capricorn. Yes, sir, Edgardo. Yes, sir. Yeah, even if your moon's in Capricorn, this is like emotional stuff that you can be letting go of, especially. Okay, so next up is Aquarius. So if you're in Aquarius rising, Aquarius sun, or Aquarius moon, the new moon in Sagittarius is in your 11th house. This is the Aquarius zone. Okay, this is your element. So a new moon with Aquarius type of stuff, which is with your friends, new beginnings with your friends and your acquaintances and your networks of your peoples, your fellow aliens, your fellow nerds in something that you guys have a common interest in, that you're like super gung-ho about, or something that you're an activist about, or anything like that. Aquarius is, there's some new beginning there. Also, the 11th house can not just be like casual, like groups of friends, but it can also be networks of people that you have for the sake of your job, your career. Okay. And I'm saying that especially because I think it's more leaning towards that for Aquarians, because there's a square to Mars and Neptune in your second house of earned income. And then we have Mercury and Venus going back into Scorpio in your 10th house of career. So there is definitely some networking things popping off that could be brand new for Aquariuses that helps them with their job and stuff. For example, let's do a little astrological math. So Venus is up there in your 10th house. Mercury is retrograde, maybe reviewing and revising, revamping something to do with your public image or your career. And then it goes direct like the same day or day after of the new moon, right? So there could be something that you've redone with your career. Venus is up there helping you to like make it look good and make yourself look good and make a good impression on whoever that's necessary to do that to, right? And then we've got the square to Mars and Neptune in your second house, which is maybe there's a challenge with how much you can actually benefit from financially from whatever changes you make with your career, right? It's all about, can this really happen? Can you really execute this? Is this realistic type of thing? Is this going to create a loss of money and income, which Neptune and Pisces can roll losses, okay? Like not fully paying attention, running into some roadblocks with things because you got lost for some reason. And then there's the new moon in your 11th house, which is like networks of people. I've seen new moons in 11th houses not necessarily bring a new job, but kind of like I've seen and experienced actually. When I had a new moon in the 11th house before, I did get a new job at that time. And it was a new corporation, a new group that I was joining, a new organization, like a major corporation I joined. And as a result of that, I made friends there, you know, they became my little group of fellow weirdos. We all kind of didn't really like to talk to strangers. And so we just stuck together and stuff like that. So that's 11th house stuff. I have seen people have a new, like, they do get a new job. They join a new group of some sort that has to do with their career. So it could be that for Aquarius people. It could be something involving a new job that you guys get. But yeah, it could be that you guys find just a group of people for leisure or business that you really relate to because you guys have a common interest, you guys have a common ground that you're on, a common mentality, a common something. And it's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I'm surprised because I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only special alien here as an Aquarius, but I found some people that think like me, that act like me, that are concerned about the same things as me. This is so cool. So some of you guys could find that. It could be a new beginning within an existing friendship. But I would say because there's a challenging aspect between the 11th house of groups and people and friends and the second house of money, just to make sure that there's any new beginning with, like, say, a friendship or group or even a project that you put out on the internet to the masses, which is also the 11th house. And it involves finances, that you read all the fine print, you make sure you know everything in detail, and that it can really actually happen. The actions that are taken are actually going to manifest into something, okay? Something that's real, all right? So that's what it is for Aquarians. It's a new beginning in your zone. So it could be a new original idea that you come up with to be even more of your unique self, you know, something like that. Okay, so now let's go into Pisces, the last but not least sign, of course. So excuse me, if you are a Pisces rising, sun, or moon, the new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 10th house, which is career, public image, the way everybody sees you with whatever status that you have, a title that you have. That's your title even as a worker, you know. So Pisces, what's going on for you guys? Well, for some of you, it is a new beginning with career. And as I mentioned with the other water signs, reality is, because there is squares to Neptune can roll losses. Some of you guys may be let go of from a job or have to leave a job for some reason that is beyond your control, or you didn't want to and you weren't expecting to, but it happens. And if that happens with this, you know, in correlation with this new moon, just know it's divine timing. As I told your other fellow water peoples, it's divine timing. It has to happen in order to push you into a new direction that's a lot better for you, okay? For some of you guys, maybe there's something you've been trying to redo and revamp with your career, your public image, especially if you're on a public platform in some sort of way. And it's to get people to see you in a more positive light, because we also have the squares to Mars and Neptune in your sign, in the house of you, yourself, your appearance, how you put yourself out there, the first impression that people get of you. So maybe there's some challenge with that. The 10th house could be a reputation, like public rep that you have. So maybe there's you're trying to clear your rep, and maybe there's something that is a challenge with doing that. And maybe the challenge mostly lies within you, because Mars conjunct Neptune in your sign. It can make you not really want to do anything. It can make you maybe a little lazier, or you can be like, oh yeah, I want to do that. But when it comes down to actually performing the action, who knows? It just goes off into outer space, disintegrates out there somewhere. Then you're like, oh, what? I was supposed to do that? Oh, I forgot. You know how, Pisces, you know how we can do sometimes. So Mars conjunct Neptune can kind of set you back a little bit from taking some action that could really boost your career or your public image in a good way. So just make sure you don't do that or take that route, but rather use the Mars and Neptune together to create some magic that other people can see, that's done by you, that's like really dope and can push that public image into a positive direction. You know what I'm saying? Or your career or something. So it's up to you, because this is, stuff happening in your sign, and then, so it's really up to you, Pisces. Take that action. Don't be sitting there. Okay. And don't be off in your own zone watching movies or taking a little sippity sip of something or anything else that helps you to like not even be here and be present. You got some things to do. Okay. So for some of you guys, it could be a promotion within your career. It could be that you're, elevated into a new title, a new status. And maybe it's something you've been working on for a minute behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So, for some Pisces, it could be a new beginning with like relationships to parental figure. Maybe you haven't really been getting along with people, especially with Mars being in your first house. Mars in the first is combative. Mars is war, and it's being angry. And even though in Pisces, it's a lover, not a fighter, like Michael Jackson, who's Pisces rising and Pisces moon, right? But still, it's in your sign. I have seen some Pisces that I follow on social media popping off, okay? Popping off. And people are like, what's gotten into so-and-so? How dare they talk to people like that? It's because Mars is like creeping up on them, making them actually like stand up and speak out. And usually they're like very chill and maybe a little more meek or something, So Mars in your sign and then Mars in water is like boiling. Imagine Mars, which is heat and fire, combined with water. What does that do? It makes it boil. So you guys could be like really boiling very easily right now, So what was the point of me telling you that? Oh yeah, with the square to the 10th house new moon, maybe you haven't been getting along with parental figures, or maybe at your job, there's something that you want to achieve or whatever. So use that Mars square as like motivation. If it involves career, use it as motivation to perform actual better actions to like push you up, and level up in the career area. Okay. So, so that's it. That's it for the horoscope for this week. Wow. 90 minutes. Yo, I've really missed you guys. I've really missed coming on here. So I made sure to spend a lot of time on the signs and what's going on in the air. So I hope you guys got something out of it. If you are exiting out because you don't care about coffee talk and celebrity examples of astrology, I still love you. I still appreciate you being here and rocking with me. Thank you very much. And don't forget that I do have webinars that are in the description box if you want to see how certain things are going to affect you. Or I also have a career one too, how to look up career in your chart and everything. That's really cool. So now let's move on to coffee talk, and we're going to do a little celebrity couple horoscope. And let me make sure I have my notes, make sure I have everything set up. Okay. So there is a celebrity couple that just got married. Now, granted, they're not like a huge celebrity couple. So I know some people are probably already like, who, what? I don't know who you're talking about. I put it in the title. Miguel and Nazanin. Miguel is a singer. He just goes by Miguel. Okay, he just goes by his first name. And Nazanin is his longtime girlfriend. They've been together for years, like 10 plus years or something. And yeah, like probably over 10 years. So they just got married. And I was wanting to look at their chart to see, first of all, their compatibility, because I've always been a fan of both of them, right? I've been a fan of both of them for a long time, but I've never really truly looked at their compatibility to see what are the binding factors between them that have kept them together for that long, and especially with him being an R&B singer. So you don't know who Miguel is. He's an R&B singer. He has some hits that have come out on the radio, but mostly he's done his own thing, and he's had his underground like mixtapes of singing, songs, and he's got his core fan base like that love him, no matter whether or not he has something on the top 40 charts or not. We still rock with him and buy his whole albums, right? So he's very unique. He is R&B, but his style also incorporates some rock and type of sound within it too. He makes it a point to not just be coined as like being put into a box. He's one of those, kind of like Bruno Mars. And what's crazy is I think he and Bruno Mars have like some similar ties to each other, like in their networks of people. I think Miguel's wife and Bruno Mars' ex-girlfriend that was more like not the one he has now, but his ex-girlfriend. I think they were like friends, or I don't know. I used to be able to keep up with this stuff a little better before. But anyway, so they have some similarities with trying to not be fit into a box with their musical styles, even though they are singers. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's who Miguel is. And his girlfriend is, she, from what I've known, I've followed her on like Instagram and stuff for about as long as I followed him, because I find her to be, first of all, she's stunning, gorgeous, okay? And, just as I'm not interested in females in that way, but you know how women are. We like to look at beautiful people and get inspiration from other women who we find to be very beautiful with, oh, she did her hair that way. I wonder how she did it. Or, oh, what? Wow, her makeup is bomb. Like, did she list what products she uses? Like, where did she get that jacket? Oh my gosh, like inspiration like that. So I followed her for years in that way. And I think she's done modeling. She does a lot of modeling. I think she's tried her hand at singing. She's been on a reality show, whatever. Okay, so that's who that couple is, all right? So they just got married. And let's look at their wedding date too, to see if they had any lucky, long-lasting wedding transits happening that day as well. So yeah, where should I begin? Hold on. Neptune in the air. Oh my gosh. I'm like, what direction was I going? Oh snap. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna look at their synastry. We're gonna look at their wedding date just really quick and see like what do they got going on? What's kept them together for this long? Now, what I do know is that they did have a break in their relationship at some point. I think it was when he had right before his first album came out, which is I think it's called All I Want Is You, and that was like the single also. Was that the name of the album? I know that was a single. Anyway, like back in 2010-ish. Yeah, back in like 2010. And I think he made that song in dedication to her because they had broken up because he had cheated on her. Okay. So they had a break in their relationship. And I think she said she heard the song that he made about her. Excuse me. And then and realized it was about her and like gave him a second chance. I think this was a long time ago, you guys. So if my memory doesn't serve me right, forgive me. But that's what happened, right? But besides that little break, they have been together since they were like teenagers. Okay. So what makes it last so long between people like that and then finally get married like 10 years later? So let's take a look at their charts and let's see. Okay. All right. So let me screen share really quick here. All right, so let's screen share real quick. Okay. All righty then, what we got here? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you guys who she is and what she looks like. She's very beautiful. To me, she strikes me as either a Libra rising or having Venus in the first house. She looks very Libra or Venus, very aesthetically like balanced features and a very slender nose. And I noticed that people who have a heavy Venus influence, they have a nose like that, or they're Libras or they're seventh housers. So I want to say she could be a Libra rising, but you know, it doesn't always have to be Libra. It could just be a heavy Venus influence. So yeah, the reason why at first I was doubtful in covering their relationship, because I was like, I don't even know if people will even care, or if they know who they are. But Vogue actually covered their wedding. Vogue magazine, which is a major publication, and then E! News and all these major publications covered their wedding. So I was like, maybe enough people will know about them. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at whose chart is this? Okay, this is Nazanin. Okay, let's take a look at Miguel because he's the singer. He's a little more well-known. Okay, so Miguel, what does he have going on in his chart? Okay, that's like love related. I'll try to stay focused on that because I will start going off on like, oh, he's this way and that way because of this. Okay, so first of all, let's look at his Venus. He has Venus in Libra, so he loves women who have a Libra type of look. And I told you, I think she has a Libra look to her. She's a model. Libra can rule modeling, and so he likes model looking women. So yeah, I think she fits the bill for that. Okay. He has, excuse me, his moon, because I don't have his birth time. I don't have either person's birth time, you guys. I did his chart, FYI. So, he could be a Pisces moon, or he could be a late degree Aquarius moon if he was born like, you know, the first couple hours of the day. Okay. I'm leaning towards Pisces moon just because, number one, I'm a Pisces moon and I always connect with other Pisces moons music so much, like on a soul level. I can feel the Pisces vibes through their music. Okay. So I'm going to say he's a Pisces moon. And another thing is, I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years back, he had an incident, a little incident. I think it was on an award show to where he was just so into his dancing and his moves that he jumped out into a crowd and like his boot, like he kicked some poor girl in the face by accident. Like he was not paying attention. He was so in the zone and in the groove of his dancing that he accidentally kicked this poor girl in the head. So to me, that's some Pisces stuff right there. Like Pisces can really just be clumsy and not paying attention to what they're doing, especially if they are singing or dancing or doing some sort of art. They're too channeled out into art land, okay, to pay attention. So I'm going to say he could be a Pisces moon. If that's true, he is, that means that the type of women, that the type of feminine energy he likes to be around also is very Piscean, which can mean very dreamy, spiritual, a woman who's also creative and into the arts herself. And I'm thinking also Nazanin, my bad, could be maybe a Pisces rising with her Virgo planets in the 7th house. That could be a possibility too. And if so, if she's a Pisces rising, his moon is Pisces, that would fit, you know, that she fits the bill for his feminine taste. And also if she's a Libra rising, like I suspect she could possibly be, that could also fit too. Especially if she's a Libra rising and his Venus is in the sign of her ascendant. Oh my God, go away. That is a key indicator a lot of times for a man really finding a woman to be very physically attractive. Okay, if his Venus is in the sign of a woman's ascendant or their sun too, it can be that. So okay, he's a Scorpio. He's an uber Scorpio. He's got the sun in Scorpio at that 0 degree, like freshly into Scorpio, and it's conjunct Pluto, the ruling planet of Scorpio, in Scorpio. And he's got Mercury in Scorpio. So he's got like a Scorpio stellium popping up here. And he's got Juno, the ideal marriage partner asteroid, in Scorpio too. So the ideal woman for him has to have some Scorpio energy, or she has to fit the description of Scorpio, meaning she has to be very passionate, very passionate woman. Maybe even he likes a little crazy, you know, possessiveness or whatever. He may prefer that too, but he likes a scorpionic energy woman. Okay. So that's what I see for him. Okay. He has Lilith and Taurus too. So he likes a Taurus type of woman as well. Lilith could be the type of woman that a man like really truly desires. Okay. So he likes a Taurus type of woman, maybe a woman that can sing. She's very Venusian in nature, what have you. Now let's look at her chart. What does she got going on? Well, she has some stuff in the sign of Scorpio too. She has Venus and Pluto in Scorpio. So she definitely fits the bill for his ideal type of woman. With that alone right there. And yeah, I already talked about the speculative rising signs that I told you guys about. So that can also fulfill. Okay, but she's a Virgo. And you know what? I follow her on Instagram and she always posts stuff about being a Virgo. And I had commented on something of hers years ago. Gosh, maybe like 8 years ago. And about her being something in Venus in Scorpio. And or I said, that also sounds like a Scorpio thing. And she like commented back. She's like, yeah, I know. Something about her having Venus in Scorpio. So I was like, oh my gosh, she knows her chart. Oh my gosh. So yeah, she knows she's got some Scorpio in the mix. So yeah, she has Venus and Pluto in Scorpio. This chick can be pretty possessive, let me tell you. And so can he be very, very possessive. With all the Scorpio energy. And I feel like looking at their synastry, those are the most binding things that they have in their synastry is the Scorpio stuff. Scorpio is life or death. I can't live without you. I can't breathe without you. I have to breathe you and just, I don't know, like your existence means my existence as well. That's how Scorpio can be. So when you get two Scorpionic people together, especially when they have these very close conjunctions by only a few degrees that they have, and Pluto, oh, that is some glue, honey, like super strong, the strongest glue in the freaking world of two people, two souls together. So I think that's mostly what it is without knowing their birth times. I would say the most challenging thing I see in their synastry is maybe the fact that his Mars is in Virgo, and his Mars is 27 degrees Virgo. Her Mercury is 23 degrees Virgo. So a Mercury and Mars conjunction, that can mean like, oh man, they probably have some really heated arguments. And Virgo can be really petty. Virgo can be, especially Mars or Mercury in Virgo, can be like, yo, they can take some shots at each other that like point out really petty flaws about things like, oh yeah, well, that's why you blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, well, that's why that one day you put one sock on that was different than the other. That means you're dumb. Virgos will notice stuff like that and pick at each other. So they maybe they've evolved, maybe they've gone through some things, gone through counseling. Maybe they don't get that petty, but there's the potential for that with this conjunction here, I see, okay? That's really the only thing that worries me. Without having their birth times. And it's a good thing that they both have Mars in Earth. So they are both very hardworking people, very business oriented, job work oriented people who are very consistent. Mars in Earth is very consistent and persistent and doesn't like to go off track. So that can also be something that bonds them together, is both having Mars and Earth, okay? I think that Mars do make a trine, like a wide trine to one another, and that's a really good aspect in with intimacy too in a relationship. So, so this is the last thing I was going to point out because I don't want to make this too long, and then we'll look at their wedding date. I have the transit set up for their wedding date, by the way. Okay, so check this out, Miguel's South Node, and you guys know the South Node, there's a lot of good and bad out there about the South Node or Ketu. But I've noticed when it comes to relationships, people do either, maybe they did have a past life together, or they feel like they did. There's a sense of familiarity between them and the other person when someone's planets conjunct another person's south node. So Miguel has a south node at his south node is 9 degrees of Scorpio, and her Venus is 3, her Pluto is 5. It's a little wide, but it's still very much conjunct his south node, or at least in the same sign, which does make, like, he's already done Scorpio things here before, and he's back to kind of maybe be on a new Scorpio mission. But to also be more Taurus, that's more complicated stuff with the nodes. But he definitely feels super, and that south node influence could be very addictive. Like, you feel addicted to somebody, you feel a magnetic pull towards them that's like, oh my gosh, like I'm stuck on you because you make me feel comfortable. You're in my comfort zone. There's so much with it. And a lot of times when people say, oh, I feel like someone's in my soulmate, or, we've known each other before, it's a lot. Most of the time it's those south node contacts between personal planets and that node. Another thing is his Juno is in Scorpio, and her Venus is conjunct, his sun too. So they really are physically attracted to one another. There's such a physical and magnetic attraction here. It's just crazy. So yeah, that's what I see. I mostly see, once again, we don't have their birth times for further insight into things, but honestly, I mostly see physical attraction. And yeah, Scorpio is a sign of like having a really tight soul bond with somebody and knowing somebody on a deep level. So them both having planetary exchanges in Scorpio, I feel like they do know each other on a soul level very deeply too. It's not just superficial, not just looks. But I would say physical is the biggest part though of this this couple. Now, looking at their wedding date really quick here, excuse me, then I'm gonna get off of here before my voice is completely gone and you guys are totally bored. But anyway, so the 24th of November 2018, that is their wedding date. I know that was a day when the sun and Jupiter were conjunct very closely. The sun was at 1 degree of Sag, Jupiter was at 3 degrees, and Mercury was at 9. So there was that stellium in Sagittarius, which, with Jupiter involved, it's very good luck. Yes. Excuse me. The only thing that really worried me was the fact that there were squares to Mars. Like, let's see, where's that? Mars and Pisces. Yeah. The sun and Mercury and Jupiter were all square Mars that day too. So, to have a wedding date with that imprinted on it, maybe there could be some like frustrations with each other and, getting along and stuff like that with the squares to Mars. But I don't think it's like too gloom and doom. And also Venus was in Libra. Venus was coming out of her Venus was not retrograde, at least. Okay. She was moving forward in Libra, but she's still in her shadow period. So that's just a little shaky for that day. And I, like I said, I really wish I had their birth times, you guys, so I could see a little bit more about this wedding date and if it's like good for them. There's only surface level things that we can see, honestly, without having their birth times and a composite chart and all of that. But from what I see, the sun and Jupiter is a very good omen to have for a wedding day. Yes. But the only thing that worried me was that Mars square. And then where was the moon at that day? The moon was in Gemini. I mean, that could be fun. That could be very fun and youthful to keep their relationship having like this, fun, youthful attitude. Just looking at a solar chart, that's her 10th house. And for him, that's his 8th house. So, okay. I mean, the 8th house is joint finances and, intimacy and all that stuff. So, okay. We can see that there from the solar chart. And then her, that's like this wedding really, if it lands in her 10th house of the solar chart, at least, it can really have a profound effect on her identity. I noticed it right away. She was using her new married last name. Some people wait a little while, but she was so proud to use that last name. And the moon is an emotional connection. And the 10th house can deal with like your last name.
your public identity. So it really did mean a lot to her. And another thing is they both have Chiron and Gemini. I don't know the time of their wedding, but the moon could have been hovering around both of their Chirons. Maybe this is something that is very healing for them is this marriage, because especially with seeing they had a rocky past, you know, they've been through a lot, they've been together for many years. So maybe this wedding was something that was healing to them, you know, emotionally healing for them. Because Chiron is not always like, oh my God, they're gonna suffer emotionally. No, it's like, okay, let's do this again. Let's repair this emotional bond that we have in any way that it needs to be. So that could have been it could have been, you know, crossing over their Chiron to the moon. Okay, so I mean, that's mostly what I can really give input into with the information we're working with. But overall, with their synastry, I don't know. Let me know if you guys see anything else significant or different that I didn't really see or look at with their synastry. If you guys know anything about them personally, or if you're fans or anything, of course, give some input. But yeah, this is the singer Miguel and his new wife. Congratulations to them. I'm really big fans of both of them. I think they are beautiful peoples, and I love his music very, very much as a Scorpio and a Pisces moon. So I wish them all the best. Okay, so let me go back to you guys really quick, and then we're going to close out here. La, 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 la. Okay, all right. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. Virgo energy can be rough with pointing stuff out. Yeah, so it sure can be. Both of them have Virgo energy, and two Virgo people together. Woo! Yeah, you can imagine what their arguments could be like. Pointing out their flaws and stuff, you know, and the pressure to be perfect for one another. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge that I saw within that relationship, you guys, to be honest. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me see what you guys are saying. Okay. Anyhow, yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Once again, I am grateful for you guys rocking with me and tuning in with me. I've missed everybody. Yes, I've been on a hiatus. As I mentioned earlier, in case you guys can see, yeah, I do still have you know, some personal life things to get through. Astrologers are not exempt from the heavy transits. And I've had them going on for me for the past like 3 months or so. And things are tying up and finishing up. And I think probably in February is when things will be smoother for me. So if I go missing for a little bit between now and say like into January, maybe into February, I'm still alive. Just have a lot of things to handle and get straightened out. So yeah, thank you guys so much. If you would like to, you know, look at the webinars that I've done with Lada, I go into a lot of extensive detail. I talk a lot. You guys know that if you're here. So I do the same thing in the webinars, give so many details, so much information. So check them out if you want to in the description box below. And Lakeisha asked, what's my status on availability for readings? You know, I am still accepting readings, but hopefully, but if you're very patient, because like I said, I'm moving. I'm actually going also through a separation. So there's a lot of heavy stuff. And I am still allowing sometimes do readings because it's my passion. You know what I'm saying? I love giving you guys insight. So I'm still accepting them if you're very patient, yes. If you're not, then it's best to wait to book with me, check with me after the new year for stuff like that, okay? All right, guys, sending you guys love too. Thank you so much, Lakeisha. And I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful week. Watch out for those Neptune squares and conjunctions, but definitely enjoy yourself this week and have many blessings to you guys on the new moon as well. All right, take care. Peace.